Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our live streaming from Unity Spiritual Center in Spokane. We're delighted you're joining us. Here at Unity, we are about transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. That is our mission. And we want to begin with our opening affirmation. I will say it once, and then I'll invite all of us, wherever we are geographically, to say it out loud together as well. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good, together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Gary Simmons. This is my cohort, Reverend Dr. Jane, and we want to welcome you today. First of all, let me just explain today's service a little bit different. My talk is Ask Dr. Gary, where I'll be taking questions from our spiritual community. This is an opportunity for you to kind of create your own worship experience by you calling forth the talk that serves the greater good. In order to do that, you need to be able to convey your question either through the YouTube chat or the Facebook comments section. So if you're watching on Facebook, it's just a matter of asking your question through the comments, and Caleb's out in our sound booth, and he's monitoring that. Say hello, Caleb.
Hello, everybody.
All right. And then if you're watching on the YouTube channel, of course, you can go ahead and chat your question now, and all throughout our beginning anyway. And if you're watching our live streaming off of the unityspokane.org website, on the window, there is on that frame that you're watching now, if you're watching through our website, is YouTube. Click on that, and that'll transfer the very same stream experience to the YouTube platform, where you can use the chat and be able to ask your question at that point in time. And so by the time we get to the talk, hopefully all the questions, or at least some of them, will be submitted, and we won't have to wait.
And I will be monitoring the questions that come in off of YouTube. So.
All right.
We just want to remind you that we have some book studies going on and classes going on. You can look on our e-news update on Wednesday. It has the information of how to sign up for that. If you have not yet and would like to, you can email the person that is leading it, and they will send you the link to join by Zoom. We're grateful for all of our teachers and leaders for continuing to try to offer classes and book studies at this time. It's great. And we want a big thank you for all of the support that is pouring forth from our congregation. The generosity, the kindness it's really heart-opening. Everything from tithing, sending, and starting a fund that is for people who are in need to have some assistance, to volunteering to pick up groceries for people or do errands, all kinds of things. And so we want to thank all of you for stepping up and helping to continue with our ministry's wonderful work, even when there are no people here. So just want to give a big shout out to all of you who are really listening and opening your heart and sharing your gifts with our congregation. If you would like to apply for some assistance or any of that, check the e-news update. It has all the information of how to go about doing that. If you would like to volunteer, you can also check that as well.
So in order to receive the weekly news update, they need to sign up on our website and place your email address there, and that way you'll receive our Wednesday constant contact where all that information is available.
That's right.
So even though we're social distancing ourselves and not coming together, your staff and your board of trustees and the various affinity groups are still hard at work and meeting on Zoom, and that is has a learning curve associated with it. So we thought, since we had our board meeting last Monday, we thought we'd record a little while we're in our board session, a little hello from the board as a board update. So here it comes right now.
Hello, this is Joan Breckling, your board president, and we're in the midst of our April board meeting right now. We just wanted to include all of you. So I'd like to ask all the board members to do a quick hello.
Hello, this is Gary.
Hello, this is Lisa.
Hello, this is Amber, and I'm looking real good just for you.
Hi, this is Karen.
Hi, this is Christy.
Hi, this is Jane. Good to see you.
Well, I kind of talked over somebody, so I think I might have before. Sorry, probably messed up the whole thing now.
Okay.
So is somebody going to tell us?
No, you're talking to the congregation right now. We're live streaming. This is the board update.
Oh my goodness. Hello, this is Jackie.
All right, I think we made it with everybody. So we just want to let you know that we're all continuing to meet and work on things that are going on now and for the future. And we're looking forward to being back with you as soon as we can.
And we really appreciate the wondrous generosity that is coming forth from so many of our community members and friends, and we just really want you to know that as a board, that's really appreciated. Okay, that's a wrap. All right, so that's a wrap. So I guess it's time for our meditation experience. I think so.
I think it does. It is. So let's all take this time to really settle into the moment and to set aside whatever's on our mind and really become present. Sink your awareness deep, deep within you. And really feel into this moment. Notice your body. Notice any places of tension. Just gently release it. Now focus on your breath. Just observe it. Just notice it. And with each breath, feel your body relax a little more. As you feel that sense of being supported. Let yourself relax into the arms of Spirit. Notice the sounds around you. Let the music take you even deeper. And now we continue to focus on the breath as we imagine breathing right into the heart. Put your hand on your heart if you choose. Now bring into your awareness someone that you deeply love. And as you think about them, let that feeling of love and compassion rise up from within you. Let it warm your heart. Let it warm your body. Feel the gentle, healing warmth of compassion as it flows through you. Now we let it radiate from within us. And as we do, I invite you to bring into your mind's eye anyone who is in need of prayer support. I request that we together hold all of the medical workers, the caretakers, everyone working in the medical field or helping to keep it clean, the support staff, all those on the front line, people working in the grocery stores, restaurants, any essential businesses. We just take this time to really surround and enfold them in our love, our support, our compassion. We see them lifted up, filled with energy, vitality, invigorated by the spirit within them. We hold in our hearts anyone being affected by this virus, or having family members who are. those who have passed on. We open our hearts wider and wider to include all of those loved ones. We feel our divine connection to the source. Each one of us is here to be the outlet of life's wisdom, love, beauty, creativity, kindness. So feel it flowing through you. Feel that source energy from deep within you just pouring forth through your heart. We open our hearts in gratitude that despite being geographically separated, that we can return again and again to that which connects us. We can hold the vision of health and wholeness, of peace and comfort. And we know that each and every heart that is pausing right now to be a part of this connected time is bringing forth healing in this world. Every one of us. And so we just rest in the silence for a moment or two. Give thanks for the opportunity to be the presence of peace on this planet. And we affirm together, may all beings be well. Let's say that together. May all beings be well. For this opportunity to be the vehicle through which Spirit is blessing our planet. We are grateful. And so it is. Amen. So I'm going to head out.
You are every mountain, and God you are every ocean, and God you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God you are every morning, and God you are every midnight, and God you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am, it's you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know, it's you. every sunrise, and God you are. Every moon glow, and God you are. Every star shine, every inch of earth and sky, God you are. Every springtime, and God you are. Every snowfall, and God you are. Every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe. And your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am, it's you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know, it's you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am, it's you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know, it's you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am, it's you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know, it's you.
Oh, we forgot that part, didn't add that in, missed it. We'll catch it next time. Well, this is Ask Dr. Gary, an opportunity for our spiritual community to check in and ask Dr. Gary a question about any topic with respect to the spiritual journey, unity, whatever's happening in your life that you need some support with. Just go ahead and type in your question. And so, what are the questions that are showing up, Reverend Dr. Jane? No questions yet? Okay, well then I'm going to instead shift into talking about my picture. So here I am, and I took this picture about 3 years ago when Jane and I attended a Dr. Joe advanced meditation retreat in Cancun, Mexico. It's also where I met Ken Close, and where we sat next to each other through most of one of those days, and really experienced a dimension of my own transformation that heretofore I hadn't awoken to. And so during the Cancun Advanced Meditation Retreat, I had a pineal gland activation, a Kundalini experience where I went into a dimension of myself that plugged me into what I now describe as a very conscious and intentional awareness of my higher self accompanying me in my spiritual journey. And so as I draw to myself the kinds of symbols and icons and mementos that keep my attention focused on the spiritual journey and the spiritual work, it's an antidote to all the things that are happening out there in the world. So I use this picture not necessarily as a way of demonstrating how freaky I can get in my own kind of way of thinking about things, but to just represent and mirror back to me what my deeper work really is. I also, maybe some of you have seen me wear these Chinese coins around my neck. It's like a talisman. It's another symbol or reminder that my deeper work is really connecting with this infinite presence and the field of infinite possibilities. These coins are typically cast in using the ancient Chinese oracle called the Yi Jing. And there was a time in my life when I was an undergraduate student in philosophy of religion, when I was attending San Jose State University many, many years ago. I really got into the I Ching and using the Book of Changes, the ancient Chinese oracle, to really map out this an experience of this dimension that we call the divine, or the field of infinite possibilities. Anyway, I just wanted to begin with sharing that I think wherever we are in our own spiritual journey, it's helpful for us to have the kinds of metaphors and the things that help us remember what the deeper, more real work is. So are we? We're still without questions. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let me just check into my own sense of feeling what is the need. So as I imagine 160 of our spiritual community, which wouldn't even necessarily fill the sanctuary. I'm looking at 202 seats that are, well, one of them has Jane sitting in it, and Caleb's in the back. But as I feel into the energetic dimension of what is our spiritual community, this is one of the strongest antidotes that I see as something that each one of us has the capacity to really engage in, and therefore create a kind of I want to describe something like the web of life, this interconnected field where we all feel connected. And so if we can feel connected to something larger than ourselves, feel it connected to a dimension of life that has as its priority, bringing us into a greater expression of who and what we've come here to be. If we can give ourselves into that aspect of what is present amidst all of the craziness, then we step into a place where we can be in the experience but not necessarily entangled within it. In other words, we can, we have a question, so I could get interrupted, and this is exactly what I wanted to be, is interrupted by a question. Okay, what's the question?
Okay, we have a question from Diane Bisson. Hello, Diane.
Hi, Diane.
As we see the pain and suffering surrounding us presently, can you share some words that help us return to center and alleviate some of our fears?
So that's a good question, and what is helpful, first of all, is to recognize that whenever we are feeling or seeing or observing something that is very difficult to hold and be present to, and indeed even welcome, that we have to begin with compassion, self-compassion. We have to be able to be in the moment and know how hard it is, and have compassion for ourselves in the midst of having to have that as our experience. And for me, the challenge is that when we open our hearts, this is what our hearts call us to feel, is to feel this sadness, this disappointment, this hurt, this the sense that what's happening should not happen. And that means there's something going on within us that's working. It's trying to reveal to us that there is an aspect of what we're here to participate in that not only affects us but pulls us into the opportunity to make a difference. So just as Jane has mentioned in her meditation, may all beings be happy. That's sort of my go-to practice is to recognize, just as I want to be free from suffering, may all beings be free from suffering.
We have some more questions.
All right, okay.
This is from Theodora. Hi, Theodora.
Hi, Theodora.
What do you think is the best way to get out of believing that we are material beings into the truth that we are truly spiritual? I know it intellectually, but don't feel I have embodied it.
So the key is to feel and embody and have the feeling of embodiment. So you're searching for the right thing, and so when we recognize that intellectually that the material aspect is an effect. What is an effect of? It's an effect of consciousness, and consciousness has influence over the stuff, the substance that takes on form and shape and meaning and purpose, and as we understand that the origin, the cause, the source is this invisible field of infinite possibilities, where we interact with that field in consciousness, then we have to practice that. We have to be in the sense, in the intentionality to want to feel ourselves in an experience so much different than perhaps how we have it when we are looking out at life and seeing a situation a certain way. I have to wrap this up. For me, I get to a place of getting beyond my body when I place my attention on some felt experience within myself. So Dr. Joe has a sense, the space that our self occupies in space. And in some ways, this doesn't make sense to our rational mind, but when we feel connected to everybody, everyone, everything, and everywhere, and all time, to actually welcome must that feel like, to feel connected to everybody, everyone, everything, everywhere, and every time, as you feel into that experience, you begin to allow that association to have a more impactful support for you in trying to manage the situations in the outer. Okay, Jane, what was next?
Okay, we have one from Donna Prothy. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna.
How can we balance fear with truth, like going out where the virus is, and yet knowing that the truth is that we're always protected?
So we have to use common sense, and we need to kind of be practical. Pray to Allah and tie your camel at the same time, so to speak. So the idea is that where is our fear coming from? Is it being generated, or are we being modulated by what's happening in the outer world? And to me, that's where a lot of my anxiety comes from, is listening to too much of that stuff. When I really check in to see what fear is in me, it's my inmost self's attempt to try to keep me safe. And so we should pay attention when our safety is important, or that issue is germane to what's happening. But to live in the energy of fear is something that is also what we are habituated to. In other words, what if one of our habits of how we're having our life is we're addicted to having it look like it's against me, or look like it's happening at my detriment. And so part of our fearful self is an effect of our conditioned being. And so we have to simply manage the difference between when I'm afraid, I have to connect up to my heart. I have to have compassion for younger Gary, little Gary, who lives in separation, who lives in fear. And after I deal with that, I'm more able to kind of be with the practical aspects of the life circumstances and decide whether or not I should be afraid. Yes.
This is from Jeff Tawney. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
In our post-COVID-19 world, those of us who desire that physical connection with others are going to be very challenged. How do we prepare ourselves for that new normal? How do we overcome the need for physical touch?
Well, personally, I don't think anybody can overcome that need for physical touch, and I think that, I mean, obviously, our social connection is an important aspect of our sense of well-being and our feeling of connection. It depends really on your personality. Now, I'm an introvert, and so I'm not missing that dimension of what the changes has been. I feel like I connect up with people through Zoom and certainly through all the other ways in which we're interacting. I feel complete with respect to the interaction that I've had. Now, Jane and I are in physical contact, of course. So suffice to say, I think that when we get done with this, and we can, I imagine that it's going to happen as a transition. In other words, first we'll have more businesses that will be deemed essential, and therefore more things can happen. We can congregate in more various ways. But I think that there's still going to be some need for social distancing until there are tests for the coronavirus and vaccines that it might be available. So who knows? But I think that we'll eventually find ourselves coming back together. Certainly, our expectation is that you folks will be here on Sundays as soon as we can. Caleb has a question.
Yes, I got a question from Jeff Hunter, who's watching us on Facebook. He asks, is there a metaphysical interpretation of COVID-19?
So there's no specific metaphysical interpretation, but let's just say that metaphysical interpretation is a system, it's an approach. So how can I see the virus as an aspect of my own consciousness or my own journey in consciousness? Not necessarily the virus itself, but what the virus brings up in me is symbolic of many of the aspects of our own spiritual journey. It's like when Jane did the Easter talk, she talked about how we are entombed in this experience together, having to cope with what's happening out there in the world with the coronavirus. So our metaphysical approach is being able to see the dynamics of our life as mirroring dynamics of our own spiritual journey. And it's important to know where we're going in that spiritual journey. And so if we think of our journey, we're becoming more and more aligned with the reality that there's just God is going on. And so if we ultimately get to a place where how can we see the coronavirus as an aspect of God going on? Well, we have to look for the good. We have to find the gift. I mean, it goes against our natural tendency to look out at life and see things in the context of the greater good that is unfolding in the dimension and in the intelligence of the divine. We can't see that. But we can know that that's at work in our own personal life. That's where I place my faith and my capacity to know that a greater good is unfolding. Any other questions? All right, I guess we're done. No, just kidding. So I'm thinking that part of our struggle, wherever we are in our own spiritual journey, is to try to make sense with what's happening in the outer and really being able to be not kind of eclipsed or diminished by what's happening. And it's, okay, we have a question.
We do have a question from Angie. Hello, Angie. Any guidance or advice for a wandering mind while trying to meditate or quiet our busy thoughts?
Okay. So in any effort to begin the meditation practice, that's the first thing that we have to kind of work with. It's actually got a name. It's called monkey mind. And so it's important for us to also understand that our brain automatically wants us to go into distraction every 16 seconds. And so it's not uncommon for us to lose our focus or become distracted or lost in thought or paying attention to some other story, and then to bring our attention back, only have it to be distracted again. That's very frustrating. But what if that's the first phase of the practice? Is just retrain our mind so that circuit doesn't get activated as just part of its default operation. So we actually have to it's like training a puppy how to go on the paper. The puppy goes over here, you have to lift it up, set it on the paper. The same thing happens when we first start learning how to meditate. And then how we focus on our meditation is also important. Focusing on a sensation in the body is also key to being able to exercise this capacity to focus our attention. Yes?
We have a question from Ken Close.
Hey, Ken. I just want to say hi, Ken.
Hey, Ken. Yes, hi, Ken. If the body is the most intricate system in the universe, do you think it has the innate ability to evolve past this introduction?
I'm not quite sure about the question, but so let me just wonder with you. Our book study, The Metahuman by Deepak Chopra, I believe really says yes to that. We are actually evolving as a human species to occupy more alignment in terms of our creative capacity by virtue of consciousness manifesting a greater good. Just like Dr. Joe demonstrates, we can materialize or dimensionalize objects if we have the capacity of knowing how to utilize all the circuits or knowing the formula. In the very same way, it could be said that Deepak has theorized a formula for this new evolved humanity or species of human that he calls metahuman, but its accomplishment is hastened as we all strive to occupy this meta consciousness where we live from the field as opposed from the form. So if you have a follow-up question, Ken, shoot it back.
He explains that the virus as the introduction is what he means.
Oh, okay. So if we think of the virus as a means by which evolution is unfolding, certainly I think that there is a perspective that can see that as a part of the evolutionary cataclysmic catalyst. Yes, the evolutionary. What was that again, Jane? Turn on your mic so everybody can hear properly.
The cataclysmic evolutionary catalyst.
Okay. So the coronavirus could be that very thing because it has required of us to, it's actually hastened the breakdown of those systems that are now revealed to be ineffective or, let us say, biased towards smaller segments of our social demographic. And so if we think of the virus as an evolutionary driver as opposed to it's infected our human cells, so we're going to be becoming something else, I think that society is going to have to create a whole different way of being human in the midst of all that is coming forth.
We have another question from Theodora.
Okay.
What practical steps can we take while social distancing to address and offset the hatred and racism that has become evident, i.e., towards Asians lately, and the ongoing racism against minorities?
So that's a part of what our effort is in terms of evolving the planet, evolving our own selves, getting to a place where we are able to bring an energetic presence to what is happening in the world. And so when we don't feel that energetic presence, we don't feel like we're making a difference. And so part of cultivating a spiritual practice is really cultivating your own sense of value and worth and recognizing that all beings should feel this. And to be in the experience of wanting and knowing that that's a part of the unfolding, that until racism and prejudice and all the ways in which we have marginalized aspects of our human family, until that happens, we're not complete yet. And yet that's part of the journey and part of the struggle. It's going to be with us for a while. Yes.
We have one from Joyce Tucker. Hi, Joyce.
Hi, Joyce.
I'm seeing the rescuer/victim roles of people. Some tell me that it's my time to go or that God will save me. Each are not following virus protocol. How to interact with these folks?
Well, it's amazing to see the various ways in which people are conforming to what is out there as the edicts or the mandates, and the rationale that associates with it. And all those things are mind-made, and in the sense that we are seeing what the aspect of our separate self, when it lives in the conditioned world, what it generates as being its reality and the obstacles that are there. So say again what her point, middle part of the question was.
Some tell me that it's my time to go or that God will save me. Each are not following virus protocol. How do I interact with these folks?
Okay, so I personally do not interact with a lot of those folks in the sense that I see that happening in terms of the media and what I observe is going on back and forth, but I don't interact with that personally ourselves, because basically our life centers around our move to Kettle Falls and also our ministry here, and so we're not necessarily, that's not our focus or paying attention. And while everybody else is plugged into all the different media ways, it's easy for us to be drawn in, and we'll notice what is ours to notice, and we'll have discomfort associated with what that discomfort is connected to inside of ourselves. And so part of the dynamic is really first working on really getting yourself in a place of connecting to your higher self, a connection to the greater good, and then to be in the presence of whatever you're witnessing from a place of compassion. And yes, if you're moved to some kind of action, to have that be an action that arises out of the guidance that brings you into something that may have a resolution based upon that higher self initiative. But like I said, my response is that Jane and I, we go the extra mile. We decide what we want to take in with respect to the news, and what we do with social media. And we try to minimize the way in which we are kind of pulled and jerked around by what's happening in the world. And the other part of this is that, you know, we can use what's happening as a way of getting all stirred up, but remember our necessity. What the world needs is sanity. The world needs presence. The world needs calm, kindness, compassion, empathy. That's what the world needs. And so those are states of consciousness. And those states of consciousness are things that are choices that we make, that we inhabit, that we embody. And if we're not choosing how we're going to be with what's happening out of the dimension of ourself that is using what is happening as a part of our abundance, as a part of the way in which we can bring forth a greater good, then we're being modulated by what's happening, and then our discomfort drives those conditioned aspects of ourself, and we just simply interact with the effect as opposed to work on the level of cause. Anything else? All right. Well, I'm going to give it 10 more seconds, and if there's no other questions that come forth, we'll move into. Actually, we're just going to go ahead and do this now. Sean and Tony have spent a lot of time and effort in recording these clips, and they've sent us just yesterday a song that Sean has written, and so we're going to move to that now, and we hope you listen all the way through, and don't sign off until the very end, because you'll really miss something special. So here we go.
Every hour of every day. when love's in control. Well, let your light shine with a deep healing love that shines forth from your soul. And ooh, God's in my life every minute and every second of every hour of every day. Ooh, God's in my life every minute and every second of every hour of every day. Ooh, God's in my life every minute and every second of every hour of every day. Ooh, God's in my life every minute and every second of every hour of every day. Ooh, of every day.
Thank you, Sean and Tawny, for that beautiful song. It's like tonic to me to hear your wonderful words of wisdom and your beautiful music. Because I think those words really capture a lot of what we're talking about today, is
Yeah.
that God is here every minute, every hour of every day, even when it doesn't look that way. And so I just want to point out how all of you brought up such great questions about what's up for us right now. You know, this is the thing about it, is that, this is all stuff that we're kind of struggling with as we go through this, and to discuss it in a way that we can really kind of make sense of some of it, or at least find a little way through, is helpful. It's helpful for me to be a part of this too. You know, when Gary says that we're very selective about what we let in, he's very selective about what he lets in. I'm not as good at, I would try it, I work at that, but I get knocked around by, Twitter and all the rest, because, it's just so there in our faces, and it is worrisome. You see racism, you see people, talking about how, this is the end time. God's going to save us, and I'm going to go out and, do something silly, and how that feels to us. It's when we're trying to keep this balance between knowing the truth of who we are, knowing the truth that God is here now, and at the same time saying, this is, I know it's all God, and this little piece here is really causing me some stuff. And so Jeff had asked a follow-up question, Jeff Tawny. So do we engage or not? It's sort of, yes, we know all this. So what do? Do we actually, talk to these folks and try to help them see the light? And what I'm going to say is that has never worked for me. That in fact, that's kind of what we're seeing in our country, in our world right now, is there's this polarity that is widening. And I don't know about you, but anytime I have tried to convince the other side that they're wrong, or tried to help them see it in a different light, it typically just has people, dig in even deeper. So it's not something that I practice, and so it's an internal thing for me. It's where I get to the place when I've been triggered. I do get to the place where I can go, and as Gary mentioned more than once this morning, self-compassion is just the antidote for so much. Whether it comes to, dealing with this anxiety, self-compassion is there to help to ease that. Whether it's needing physical touch, missing that. And of course, as you know, we're married, so it's not so much for us. But still, feeling, missing hugs from people. that I'll do a self-compassion exercise where I actually give myself those hugs, and it's not quite the same, but it does help with that. That's what I found. So to me, compassion is kind of the antidote for everything that we're going through, is to get ourselves to a place of compassion for ourselves, for how hard this is, and how hard it is to be spiritual beings walking this human path right now, and trying to get this double vision of knowing the truth and also dealing with what is at the same time, and also to have compassion for all of us who are lost in this, who are asleep to our own true nature, who are struggling and stumbling and kind of grasping at ways to deal with it. And so that's kind of my work with this.
All right, that's great. All right, folks, well, we're turning now to our offertory. And once again, we appreciate your generosity in these times, and also appreciate those of you who are signing up for our automatic giving through the Tithely app or your bill pay. We appreciate that. That makes a big difference. So I'm going to invite us all to share our offertory blessing, and if you are so inclined, there's the donate button on our website. It's not on the YouTube channel or the Facebook, so you'd have to go back, but keep us in the flow. All right, together. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. All right, so the next thing is our Zoom meet and greet, and so we'll be exiting the live streaming, and in about 2 minutes we'll have our Zoom open and ready for our meet and greet. So thank you very much. God bless. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.